How's it going, everyone? I am back with another video. This is going to be my Week 15 recap video, where I'm going to go through all the NFL games that took place this past week and break down my takeaways, thoughts, interpretations, all that good stuff. So diving straight in here. So the first game was the Thursday night game. It was Falcons Bucks. Pretty good game, entertaining game. Biggest takeaway is Tampa blew it. Tampa blew it to Atlanta of all the teams. If you're going to choke a game away, how the hell is it to the Falcons of all teams? I guess my team almost choked away the game, but not to the extent Tampa was. But we ended up beating the Falcons, even though we got a bit fortunate. Tampa should have had the game won. They did not play great in this game. The defense was pretty bad. Kirk Cousins went off. Kyle Pitts had like the best performance of his career on not one, but two of my fantasy benches, of course. So thank you for that, Kyle Pitts. But that one I'll live with because I never play Pitts unless I like have to. The most part, actually, one league I won anyway. I'm in the losers bracket, so I don't really care too much for it. My team went off. They put up like 160 points or something like that, and that's with Pitts on the bench. Um, Actually, maybe no. I think I did. Actually, all right. Let me. Now I'm curious. Did I start him in that league? Let's see. Um, let's see here. Sort through my 400 different leagues I'm in. I did not. I left him on the bench. I left him on the bench for Harold Fannin Jr., of course. Now, again, I won that league in the losers bracket, so it doesn't really matter too much, but of course. But anyway, Pitts went off in this game. He actually has looked solid the past couple weeks. Kirk Cousins, as I mentioned, went off. Baker and the offense just not been the same for a bit now. They're getting healthier. Mike Evans came back. He had a couple big catches for Tampa. Uh, Back and forth game. Tampa sent the half. They're up 14 in the fourth quarter, and they lose. They lose the game up 14. They allow a touchdown. They stop Atlanta going for two. Atlanta scores another touchdown. They don't get the 2 point version. Then they get the ball back. Baker threw a bad pick that led to the second of the two touchdowns Atlanta got in the fourth quarter. But then they get the walk-off field goal to win the game. So this is a killer loss for Tampa. Now, Carolina lost to the Saints, so it's not as brutal. Tampa still controls its own destiny for the playoffs, but this is bad. This is a collapse. They started off the year with 6-1, 5-1, 5-1, I believe, and now they're 7-7. So, Baker's in the MVP talks at the start of the year. Now they're 7-7. Todd Bowles getting a lot of heat. He's on extremely thin ice. I think they should move on from him, but I think they're probably going to end up, even if they don't win the division, the Glazers seem very hesitant to move on from anyone, so I think they'll keep Bowles regardless, and they did just sign him to an extension before the year. But I think Tampa probably is going to end up winning the division. It's my gut feeling right now over the Panthers. But they need to get their shit in gear. I think they're going to, play like we expect them to. Like, the division's borderline on the line against Carolina this week. Falcons, good win for them. They're out of it. Just coming into this game trying to play spoiler. That's what they did. Their offense looked great. Defense, it kind of got, picked on in the second half. Mike Evans, some big catches. I mentioned over 100 yards receiving. They did their part. Kirk Cousins looked good. Bijan looked good. Tampa had some issues tackling in the open field this game. Just not great coaching on Tampa's part throughout some of the game here. Atlanta came back down 14 in the fourth quarter. That's just brutal for Tampa in a big game. So a good win for the Falcons, but the Bucks, they just completely collapsed here. Oh boy. Baltimore and Cincy. Yeah, the Bengals just could not get anything going for them in this game. First time Joe Burrow's been shut out, so that describes the game pretty well. They hit one decent drive. They're in the red zone. Burrow throws a nice ball. It looks like it was caught for a touchdown, knocked out at the last second, then a pick six the very next play. And Kyle Van Noy, my old guy for the Patriots, hands it off to his teammate to get a pick six out of it. So that was just brutal. The Bengals defense actually did decent in this game. They got a lucky interception that should have been caught by, is it Flowers? I think should have had it, but they sacked Lamar. I forget how many times, but I think it might. All right, now I'm curious. Now I gotta look this up. Let's see here. Um, I know it was at least once, but it was early on. It was 0-0 for a while, very low scoring. Then the Ravens started to pile it on a bit. Oh yeah, they sacked Lamar 4 times. So yeah, the Bengals defense didn't even play it, but they really only allowed 17 points because again, 7 of them came from a pick six, then the extra point. Yeah, the Bengals just they got to get to the rest of the season and make some serious changes in the offseason to help Burrow out. Burrow didn't play good this game, but the defense needs to be addressed. The line needs to be addressed. Is Zach Taylor going to be fired? Probably should be. Who the hell knows? Bengals got a lot to clean up in the offseason. Just a mess of a game for them here. Baltimore, their defense played great. The offense still isn't phenomenal, but maybe got back into a bit of a groove. Derrick Henry started to get it going a bit here. And Lamar had a nice touchdown throw to Zay Flowers. Maybe they're picking it up the right time. They still get a chance in the division. Good win for them here, much needed, but the Bengals, this was a disaster. Oh, speaking of disasters, honestly, not too much to recap from this game. The Raiders are just a fucking complete shit show. I would die for my team to play them now instead of week one. We would easily blow them out. Feel very confident saying that. Philly, they needed this. Thought this could be an ugly win where they win. It's like, well, they won, but they still didn't look good. Not the case here. The defense held them to under 100 total yards, I believe. Just an absolute shellacking on Philly's part. They just killed them here. The offense looked good. Maybe they figured some things out. It'll be interesting to see if they can carry it over the rest of the regular season. They get the Commanders, who are another disaster, but not as bad as the Raiders. But this game, they just killed the Raiders. Got back into a groove. This was the Philly team we expected to see for a good part of the year. Not necessarily, winning by 31 points and shutting your opponent out every week, but the offense looking as competent as it did. The defense playing very well. Complimentary game for Philly, much needed. Good win for them. The Raiders, oh boy, they're just a complete disaster. Arizona and Houston. So Houston dominated the game. They're up multiple scores most of it. Trey McBride went off in this game, but this is a game similar to how a lot of Arizona's games have gone the back half of the year. The offense does okay. They're trailing by multiple scores. They get a score late to make it more respectable. But they just obviously end up losing in the end. Houston, another great win. 9-5 now, making a serious push for the division. The offense is starting to figure some things out. They played good in this game. I know Arizona's defense is injured beyond belief. Their defense played good, even though McBride went off. It was relatively close for a good portion of the game. I think Arizona cut it 2 scores in the fourth quarter, but Houston just pulled away. Definitive win for Houston here. They're leading the whole game. Much needed win for them. And Arizona, just another mess. Just another mess of a game for them here. They just need their season to be over with. Here we go. Chargers and Chiefs. I never would have dreamed of the Chiefs being eliminated from postseason contention in week 15. They're eliminated before Christmas. This is so satisfying. The team last year that had the single luckiest season in the history of professional sports, they get every single call to go their way, every single crucial call especially. They get every single 50-50 play to go their way, every single coin flip play to go their way. It happens to go their way. They were a mediocre team last year, and through pure luck, they got another couple additional wins to make them look an elite team based on their record. You take away luck, and we saw what the team really was in the Super Bowl. They played absolutely abysmal, just an awful performance, and it kind of carried over into this season. I thought coming into this year, and I think I said in some of my videos that I think I picked the Chiefs to still go at 12-5, but I said that I think they're going to have what happened to them last season, it's going to return to the mean, and it's going to happen the opposite. So they're going to get some unlucky plays. They're going to maybe get some bad calls against them, etc., etc. That's exactly what happened. And it is so satisfying to see. Could not happen to a more deserving team than the Chiefs. Oh boy. First of all, give credit to the Chargers. Short week, um, overtime game against Philly in an ugly game, and they come on the road in Kansas City, a desperate Chiefs team need to win out for any chance whatsoever at the playoffs. And it was an ugly game again, but they got the job done. So give the Chargers credit. They're a dark horse. I don't think they're going to make a Super Bowl run. If that offensive line was not nearly as bad as it was, it would be interesting to see what this team can do. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do even now. But as far as the Chiefs, it is just so satisfying to see this team out. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't even celebrate at the time because the Patriots had just lost, so I was fuming. I was so pissed off, and the way it happened that they lost with Mahomes tearing his ACL, it sucks that that happened. Obviously, I cannot stand Mahomes. I think he's the most overrated player in sports history by a landslide. But don't wish an injury on anyone. Sucks to see that happen. But I mean, I think they honestly, if Mahomes had stayed in the game, I think they probably would have tied it and probably would have gone to overtime. Would they have won? Who knows? Excuse me here, but I don't think they would have made the playoffs even if Mahomes had played the rest of the year. But yeah, the sorry, I'm just getting a bunch of notifications on my Apple Watch here. But yeah, Mahomes sucks. Obviously, is he going to be ready for the start of next season? Who knows? A bunch of different timelines I've seen. He messed up another ligament in his knee too, so that sucks. So it sucks in the way that it happened, but I would be much more celebratory if Mahomes played the full game and they lose and they're eliminated. I'd be much more celebratory, but it sucks in the way it happened. Um, yeah, the Chiefs just the rest of the year they're going to be rocking with Minshew. Just what a mess of a season. What a mess of a season. But again, just another game where the defense bails them out. The offense does very little, and the defense, just like the past 3 years, it carries them the whole game. It's constantly within a one-score game. They're holding their opponent to a low number of points, and the offense just dinks and dunks their way up the field, just ugly, ugly. And they just this year they haven't been able to pull games out of their ass and get bailed out like they have in years past, and it's so satisfying to see. Um, and again, don't want to talk ill will about Mahomes, but yet another game where his team puts up 13 points. He throws a bad interception late when they are about to tie the game. Defense bails him out again, gets another stop. I mean, the Chiefs, I think they're the fifth scoring defense in football. I would have loved to have seen, and Mahomes has played awful for a good portion of the season too, especially lately. Another horrible passer rating this game. I would have just loved to have seen the anti-Brady people, if Tom Brady ever had a top five scoring defense and the offense was this bad and he missed the playoffs. And again, another thing is, um, Tom Brady, like throughout, the narrative through most of his career is he had, like mid receivers that he elevated. People are saying, yes, the line has been bad for the Chiefs this year, and the run game is very little for the Chiefs. But people are ripping Andy Reid. You have the greatest offensive coach in NFL history, arguably. You have Rashee Rice, you have Xavier Worthy, and you have Kelsey's washed, but you still have Travis Kelce, who's I think he is like 800. How many yards does Kelsey have this season? Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, is 797, so he has about 800 yards. It's not like he has no help, and he has a god tier defense, for Christ's sake, a top five scoring defense. It gets every crucial stop they need. It feels like not this season to the extent of the past couple of years, but even this season, people ripping the defense for not getting off the field in third down. They're a top five scoring defense. So again, just more ammunition for the ridiculous narrative that Mahomes is even in the stratosphere of Brady. But again, sucks that he got hurt, but just so satisfying to see this team out. Most toxic, insufferable team in sports history. So satisfying. Um, and it just opens up the door for all the other teams and gives them confidence that if they can make a push. But credit to the Chargers, they're gutting out a win here. They're dangerous. Chiefs, good riddance. See you in hell. Oh boy. So going from a Temu dynasty to the actual dynasty team. So I actually just uploaded my Patriots Week 15 recap or takeaways video on the game on my channel, obviously on my channel. So check that out if you're interested. So I won't go too in depth on this game here, but my key takeaway is it's one thing to lose, but another thing to lose in the way we did, being up 21-0 and then 24-7 at half. Just we didn't show up in the second half. The Bills were getting some controversial calls to go their way in crucial times too of the game. We still nearly had it. Henderson bailed us out with a touchdown run to put us up 3 in the fourth. We had a chance to take the lead late in the game. We went 4 and out. We just did not have it in the second half. Played bad. Bills made some adjustments. I think they ran more man. Receivers are having trouble getting open. So just not a good performance at all in the second half. We looked phenomenal in the first half. Well, the defense really started to fall off. It started at the end of the first half when Buffalo went right down the field and put up their first touchdown. They allowed 5 straight scoring drives. They finally got a 3-and-out late, but again, as I mentioned, our offense, we didn't do anything with it. Then Buffalo had a first down, just nailed the ball out there. So yeah, the Bills, they needed this for any chance whatsoever at the division. If we had won, we would have won the division. It was a hat and t-shirt game for us. But the Bills mathematically can still win the division. Even if we lose this week and we're tied record-wise and Buffalo wins, we just need to beat the Jets and Dolphins the last 2 weeks of the season. We'll have won the division. So, yeah, I think we'll win the division, but this really hurt our chances at the 1 seed. I don't think we'll be getting that, even though it's possible mathematically. It's a long shot at this point. But yeah, positive thing for us is we were overdue for a loss. We got it out of the way, at least before the postseason, and it's a learning opportunity for us. We're up 21-0. We're up 24-7, and then we played as bad as we did in the second half. So, if we're ever in a situation like that again, hopefully we learn from this game. And it's just human nature when you lose to pay attention to what led to that point and what you can improve on. So the guy's going to be more locked in. I think Garrett Bradbury talked about that in his post-game press conference. I don't think, we were ignoring the flaws or how we can improve when we were on our big win streak there, especially with Vrabel as the head coach. But again, it's just human nature where I think if something doesn't go your way, you're going to be more attentive in how you can improve for the next time. So, again, I had like a 20-plus minute, I think it was close to a half-hour video on this game specifically, so check that out if you're interested again. But, yeah, tough loss for us here, but overall, I'm not too concerned. Lost my voice in this game. I was screaming so loud. Obviously, I would have preferred if we had won, but not the worst game to lose for us. We were going to lose one. At least we got out of the way. Give the Bills credit in the second half for making some adjustments. We just did not show up at all. Painful, painful game. Speaking of teams not showing up, the Jets and the Jaguars. Oh boy. The Jags the score's pretty indicative of how this game went. The Jags just absolutely slaughtered them. Trevor Lawrence went off. They put up 48 points. They could not be stopped. The Jets defense was abysmal in this game. They got one, it was kind of a fluky turnover from what I remember. Something they haven't done all season barely, a historically low amount of turnovers. They fired Steve Wilks, their defensive coordinator, after this game. That's how bad it was. They fired him the next morning. The offense, Brady Cook actually started the game. He looked decent. It was relatively within reach. I think it was 2 scores, and the rest of the game was just a complete disaster. There's nothing going for the Jets. The Jags dominated. They're looking like a dark horse team Great win for them, and for the Jets, like most seasons, just a disaster. Washington and the Giants. Yeah, this was an interesting game. Washington was leading for most of the game. The Giants are staying within reach. They're not playing great. Washington's outplaying them. Then late, the Giants score a ridiculous play by Dart. And then the Commanders tried to pull the game. They fumbled it, but then their defense held on. They won the game. Um, I mean, no offense, but let's be honest. Who really cares about this game unless you're fans of the team or fans of the teams? And honestly, fans of these teams probably just want to lose at this point for draft positioning. But yeah, the Commanders, they're a tough team to read. They look like good. They look like they played against Denver one week, like this week, and then they look like the game against the Vikings the next. They're a hard team to read. The Giants, they get so much potential, a bunch of talent. Dart's obviously been a stud this season, but they only have 2 wins. They've blown multiple games they should have won, so they're another tough team to gauge. Tough one for them here. Almost pulled it off. Commanders outplayed them, though. Credit to them. They deserved this one. Browns Bears. Yep, not too much to recap from this one. The Bears just absolutely slaughtered the Browns. The defense, per usual, kept it relatively within reach for a decent chunk of the game. Then the Bears just poured it on, could not stop them. The offense all year has just been so bad for the Browns. Just a mess. They're giving Shador the wrong wristband, and it's just what a complete disaster. Stefanski and the staff need to be fired. Obviously, keep Jim Schwartz, but I mean, the staff needs to be fired. Stefanski needs to be fired. This was just a mess for the Browns. You got to put up more than 3 points on the Bears defense, which is good this season, but you can move the ball on it. They had a couple deep shots, but besides those that worked out for him, just a mess of a performance. Credit to the Bears, though. I feel like right now they're a better football team than they were at any point in the year. Even when they were winning, I was like, okay, they're winning, but they're just escaping. Now they're starting to blow some teams out. And even the games they're losing against the Packers, an elite team, they're right there. So credit to the Bears. They're getting better. They're peaking at the right time. But for the Browns, they just need the season to end. Carolina and the Saints. Yeah, the Panthers blew this game. Speaking of teams that are hard to read, Carolina, they look like a 17-0 team one week, and then they look like an 0-17 the next week. Bryce Young either looks like 2007 Brady or he looks like 2025 JJ McCarthy, and there's no in between whatsoever. They're up 7-0. Then they're up 17-7 in the second half. The Saints just aren't getting too much going for them. The defense has been playing solid. The defense has actually been solid lately for the Saints. So give Brandon Staley and that unit credit. Shough has been actually solid from his limited starts and action in the NFL. Then so they're up 17-7. New Orleans gets a field goal. They tie it late. Bryce Young tries to lead a game-winning drive. They end up punting it. The Panthers kind of bailed them out. The Saints called a QB draw, and they were going to have to spike it and attempt probably a really long field goal unless they try, a sideline shot to get some yardage there, but I doubt it. The Panthers would have known that. And their defense playing solid this game. They get a late hit on the quarterback, and New Orleans gets the field goal. Then there's only 2 seconds left, and they, try the lateral miracle, the Panthers, and, the ball is just covered up, and they lose. Absolutely unacceptable for Carolina to lose this game. Very much needed to win the game to control the South now. They still can win the division. They just have to beat Tampa. Well, I think there's a couple different ways. But obviously, the easiest way is if they just sweep Tampa. That is going to be the easiest way. They still play them twice this week and then week 18. So, yeah, obviously this game would have helped, though. If the Saints beat the Panthers and Bucs back-to-back weeks, they're starting to play, okay football. Even the Dolphins were a disaster this week, but Dolphins were heating up and they almost came back down 16-0 against them. But yeah, this Panthers team just can't lose the game like this. Bryce Young, I thought, was okay in this game, but statistically, I don't think he played great. Give the Saints credit coming back down 10 points late to win the game. Again, kind of got a bit fortunate with that call there, but yeah, give them credit. They're starting to look serviceable. Shuck looks decent. Defense looks solid. Give them credit. For the Panthers, oh boy, who the hell knows what version of the team we're gonna get every week. Lions, Rams. So the game started off, the Lions were up. They were leading at the half. They were in control the first half, back and forth. Neither defense can stop anyone. Actually, Aiden Hutchinson got a pick on Stafford. That was like the only time the Lions defense got a shot. The second half, the Rams took control. They're up 2 scores late. The Lions score, and then the Rams end up getting a first down. They just, kneel it to run the clock. Or actually, no, they didn't kneel it because they punted the ball back to the Lions. The Lions just ran out of time. There's like barely any time left. Devontae Adams got hurt. Hopefully, it looked bad at first, but hopefully he's good to go shortly here for the Rams. They play Thursday, so him being out is going to absolutely kill them, I think, in that game. But who knows? The Lions, they need to basically win out and get some things to bounce their way to, I believe, to make the postseason. Maybe they can afford one more loss at most, but I think even if they win out, they need to get, it's like a 50-50 chance, like 54%, something like that. They obviously have not been the same team as they've been in recent years. The offense has looked better lately. The defense just been a mess most of the season. So they need to address that there. Injuries have killed them. This game I expected the Rams to torch, and that's what happened. The Lions got more offense than I was expecting, and the Rams defense has not been too great the past couple weeks. So if you want to maybe not nitpick, but if you want to criticize the Rams the past couple weeks, their defense has not been too great. So you can say that. The Lions, tough one for them here. The offense did its part. The defense just not nearly enough to win the game here. Rams, they are dangerous. They're probably my pick for the Super Bowl right now. I picked them to get to the Super Bowl before the year. I had them losing to Baltimore. But right now, if I had to choose a team to win the Super Bowl, like a lot of people think the betting odds, they're number one. I would pick the Rams. Lions, they can still make it, but even if they make it, they're just not the same. It's sad, but yeah, who knows though? Especially this season, who the hell knows? But yeah, tough one for the Lions. The Rams, they got the job done. Fun game, shootout, and Gibbs didn't even do much either. Colts Seahawks field goal heavy game here. Seattle had 6 field goals. I am getting a bit concerned. Well, maybe not concerned, but as a neutral fan, I'm kind like when it comes to the Seahawks, I'm getting a bit concerned with how their offense has been lately. It has not been very great, and Clint Kubiak offenses tend to flare out as the season progresses, and it looks like that's what might be happening there. The defense of Seattle played great per usual. Indy's defense played a really solid game too. Philip Rivers was okay. He basically, as expected, was a game manager. A lot of short passes. He threw a touchdown pass, but run game, short passes, things like that. The Colts nearly had the game. They settled for a 60-yarder with like under a minute left, and I'm like, wow, they ran it, and I'm like, this is extremely bold, and they made the kick, Blake Grupe, and I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna win the game. And then when Jason Myers attempted the kick, I'm like, he's gonna miss it. The Colts are gonna win. Philip Rivers, what a story. Jason Myers made the kick. Philip Rivers, trying to get in a field goal range, last ditch effort, threw a pick. But I thought he played fine. The Colts defense played good. The Seattle's offense was clutch late. Credit to them, but the offense just has not done much lately. Did great the second half of the Falcons game. Besides that, the past few weeks, it's really not done too much. A lot of field goals, not a lot of touchdowns, 0 touchdowns here. Indy, sad to see what's happened to them. They can still make it, but it's just sad to see people talking about them in the Super Bowl now. they probably aren't even going to make the postseason. There's a decent chance. Sad to see. They almost had this game. Would have been a fun story for Philip Rivers. Tough one for them here. Um, Seattle, ugly win. It'll be interesting to see what happens this Thursday against the Rams. But great win. Well, not great win, but obviously good for Seattle to get the win overall here. Green Bay and Denver. This game did not go as I expected. I thought it would be much more low scoring than this. Maybe both teams in the 20s. Denver's offense went off. I did not expect them to play that well. Knicks had like basically, honestly, from top to bottom, his best game of the season, I would argue. And it extremely pisses me off because this is the one time all year, besides his bye week, that I benched Knicks. I actually think I benched him early on in the season, and I think I ended up winning, so it didn't even really matter there. But I don't even really hesitate because I think I had Rodgers. I picked him up off waivers as my backup, so I obviously just kept starting Knicks, and I didn't even really hesitate. Then Rodgers, when he had the whole hand thing a couple weeks ago, I got Jordan Love because I was worried Rodgers wasn't even going to play. And actually, I think no, I got Jordan Love because both the Steelers and Broncos run bye weeks. I'm pretty sure. Actually, no, when the hell? No, the Steelers in an early. I forget when, but something. I forget exactly what it was, but I had to pick up a new backup, and I got Love, and I haven't started Love until the Broncos had their bye week a couple weeks ago, and this game, I'm like, I feel like Green Bay schematically they're gonna have success against this Denver defense. Denver's due for a loss. Green Bay's heating up. Green Bay, I think, may run their offense similar to how Washington ran it a couple weeks ago. I think their defense can limit Denver here. I'm going to go with Green Bay here, and I think Love's going to play a decent game. And I'm like, you know what, bit bold, so I'm going to go with Jordan Love over Knicks. It's probably going to bite me, but I'll go with them. It cost me the game. My 12-2 one-seeded team is now eliminated from that one fucking move. I am so pissed off at myself. Would have won a giant ass fantasy trophy. Second time in 3 years I would have won it. So I'm so pissed off. And I'm projected to blow out both teams that made the championship. So of course it's how it's gonna go. But it is what it is. But anyway, back to this game here. Green Bay was leading at the half, kind of a back and forth game, low scoring. Then Green Bay got bailed out on a PI call on Riley Moss, or holding was one of the two. And then Josh Jacobs had a touchdown run. They're up 9 in the third quarter. And I'm like, here we go. I like how this is going as a Patriots fan. And again, I had Love over Knicks. But Denver touchdown. Then they got another touchdown. Green Bay got a field goal. Denver got a touchdown. Then there was a sequence at the end. Denver's defense basically shut Green Bay down in the second half. Then late in the game, Denver goes for it on 4th and 1. They get stopped when they could have either attempted a field goal or just punted it. But I don't know. I not the worst thing. He's a second guess because it didn't work out. But I'm not sure, what the hell happened there. Green Bay's got a chance. They go 4-0. They lose the game. Obviously, for Green Bay, big story is Micah Parsons tearing his ACL. Awful day for injuries, but that's going to dramatically hamper the Green Bay defense. I think they still could contend, but obviously that's a massive blow for them. The pass rush was extremely limited, you could tell, without Parsons the rest of the game. But yeah, Denver, top to bottom, I thought they were going to lose, especially when down 9 in the second half. They fought back in the game. They won. Give credit to them there. Really complete performance from Bo Nix, which just is pissing me off the more I say it. It's the one time I left him on my bench. Jordan Love, I don't even think played that bad. The first pick was just a ridiculous play by Pat Surtain. And then the second one, I think it was a bit behind it. It was just an unfortunate interception. Riley Moss picked it off. But yeah, Green Bay, I think they'll be okay without Parsons. Obviously going to be a bit, well, not a bit, it's going to be a massive blow, but, I think I still think they'll be okay. Denver, good win for them overall. You just keep thinking they're going to have to lose one eventually, and they keep winning. So who the hell knows with them at this point? Good win for them. Packers, thought they had it. Tough loss for them here. Titans, Niners. So the Niners, it was, relative. It was within like two scores most of the game, but the Niners were in complete control. Never really thought they were going to lose the game. As I predicted, they went off offensively. They couldn't really be stopped. The Titans have actually been playing some okay football. They've looked a lot better in the past couple weeks, really since that Seattle game. And then the Jags game was a disaster. But really, since then, they've looked okay. Their offense got going a bit. They put up 24, so they're playing a bit better. They obviously upset the Browns last week. So they're playing a bit better, but San Francisco coming off the bye, they very much needed this win. They got it. They're still in the division race somehow with all of these injuries. I don't think they're going to win it, but they're still in it somehow. Actually, technically, they could have been the one seed depending on how some other things played out this week, but which is insane to think. But yeah, won't talk too much about this game. Just overall, really solid win for the Niners. They're going to be a dark horse this postseason. Titans, this was not a bad loss. Obviously, everyone expected them to lose, but they were right there. Cam Ward and the offense are clicking a bit more. So, not the worst loss to the Titans, but Niners, solid win here. Sunday Night Football, Minnesota and Dallas. Yeah, Dallas, they're basically done. They are on life support for playoffs. They need Philly to lose out, and they need to win out. So they're basically done for the postseason. They have like a less than a 1% chance, I think was what the analytics gave them. Their defense was playing a bit better for a couple games after the trade deadline and their bye, and now it's back to being a disaster. I mean, you just let J.J. McCarthy put up 34 points on you at home in prime time in a must-win game. The defense played awful. J.J. McCarthy, he actually looked decent last week. They put up 31 against Washington, but that was against Washington. The Dallas at least has firepower offensively. The offense was okay in this game. They moved the ball, okay throughout it, but Aubrey missing 2 field goals hurt. They're down 2 scores late. They kick one to, attempt the onside after that, but they didn't get it, obviously. And Minnesota loses, or I'm sorry, Minnesota wins, just, kneels the ball out there. Yeah, this one really hurt Dallas. It's a much needed win. Sunday Night Football at home against a team you should beat, and you lose. Pressure hurt the Cowboys this game again. Aubrey's 2 missed field goals, but yeah, pressure was a big issue. Just their defense is back to the point where the offense isn't played borderline perfect. They're cooked basically. So really tough game for Dallas here. Give Minnesota credit. Their offense and McCarthy have looked competent the past couple games. The defense has been playing well. Give them credit. My old guy from the Patriots, Brian Flores. Unfortunately, they're out, so too little, too late. But maybe they can keep this up the rest of the season, build into next year. McCarthy, obviously, you want to give him as much playing time as possible. Made some solid throws in this one. So give Minnesota credit, but for Dallas, oh boy, just a killer loss here. Then the Monday night game, Dolphins, Steelers. So the score is a bit misleading because the Steelers were completely dominating the game. At halftime, it was close. It was only 7-3. And, first half defensive game, not too much offense going. Steelers had a long drive in the first half. They score. And then they scored 3 straight, or two or 3 straight touchdowns, I forget. But they ended up with 4, obviously, because they had 28 points. Then Miami didn't get anything going until garbage time. It was too little, too late. They got 2 garbage time touchdowns. They benched Tua. What a complete disaster. Tua was bad in this game. Quinn Ewers is going to be starting the rest of the season, so that's absolutely insane. Who would have thought that? Yeah, they looked okay. Miami's defense for the first half and the second half, they collapsed. Pittsburgh's defense played great until garbage time. Pressure issues were killing the Dolphins here. Um, yeah, Rodgers in the offense looked competent. DK had a big touchdown. It was a ridiculous play by him. The Steelers' offense looked competent. Good one for them. Dolphins are red hot coming into this game. Any hope they had of making the postseason, they needed to win out. So big spot for both teams. Steelers, with the Ravens winning, even more added pressure on them, and they got the job done. So credit to Pittsburgh. They played a solid game against a red hot team, figured some things out offensively. The past couple 2 weeks, it feels like. Miami, just a disaster. They're out. Good riddance to the Dolphins. Make sure you get all the games here. So yeah, was a pretty entertaining week for the most part. Some good games, some not so great games like the Baltimore Cincy, then the Raiders Eagles game. At least Baltimore Cincy was like relatively close for a good portion of it. Um, but yeah, good mix of games. Was pissed off at my team. Obviously, that's okay. Eliminated in 2 of my 4 leagues. I made the playoffs in, but I'm still in it in 2 of them. I'm just one of them. I'm obviously upset that I lost, but I knew that my team probably wasn't going to win the championship anyway. Just my one-seeded team. I'm just so pissed at myself because of benching Bo Nix. I'm really having a hard time getting over that, but that's okay. I'll live. Um, but yeah, week 16 looks pretty good. Some intriguing games there. Hopefully, you guys did good in fantasy picks, betting, all that good stuff. I'm going to try to upload my week 16 score predictions video tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that if you're interested. But yeah, I'll wrap this video up here. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed. Take it easy. As always, go Pats.